Hi everybody, and welcome to Mercury Tower of Power Part 54. It's spring. It's actually the end of April 2017, so we're going to get back to work. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The beaches are open. People are having fun. As you know, amity does mean friendship. Did you get it?
No.
You don't get that one? No? Jaws.
Oh.
Remember when the mayor said that? Oh, it's all right.
Oh yeah, I do remember.
All right.
Oh my, yeah.
You get the cookie. Look at me. Look at the camera. Okay, so the last time I worked on this section down here, I determined that when I was trying to replace this or remove this completely rusted out reverse latch hook assembly, that this pin is seized into this. So the only way I figured I'm going to be able to get this out is I'm going to cut this. The way this is supposed to come out is there's a cotter pin that actually goes through the hollow tube part of the reverse latch assembly, and it's what keys this in there. And the problem is that I don't even think there's anything left of the cotter pin, and it's probably completely just rusted and seized in there. I tried pounding on this, it didn't want to budge. The easy way to do this, well, so to speak, somewhat easy, is to just cut this whole unit into two pieces, and I should, or maybe three pieces depending on how tight it is to get this out, and I could drop this whole thing out. I've already off of eBay I scored a new one of these pivot pins. I scored a new one of these cross shafts right here because this one's badly bent. I don't even remember how that happened, but I'm pretty sure I did that at some point. Trying to pry something. I think I was, when this was all seized up and I couldn't get this to tilt at all. And what else? Oh, and I got the pin that's been missing from here since I got it, which is a replaceable, well, it's a pin that's designed to be able to be easily removed and moved to different positions here to set your trim. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is get something that's going to let me get in here fairly easily and cut that. Alright, there's a few ways I could cut this, but I decided to settle on using a 24 tooth metal cutting blade in my Sawzall. Oh, there's a small spring attached up here I didn't even see. It's going to be easier to cut the other side too. Maybe not.
Think marksman.
I think he's got issues.
You know those rototillers in the tent?
Yeah.
When are you gonna fix those up?
Alright. What rototillers? There's only one in there.
There is?
Yeah.
I thought you had 3 and you sold 1.
No, I had 2 and I fixed up and sold 1 and I kept 1.
What are you gonna do with them?
Alright, there we go. Got the spring out. Well, I got the spring on hooked from one side. Making life a little easier. Ta-da! Ooh, that's rusty.
What are you gonna do with that now?
Throw it in the scrap pile. Alright.
You have another one of those?
Yes, sir, I do. Courtesy of eBay. Alright. So you can see how horrible that looks. That's completely rusted away. Pin looks pretty good, actually. I wonder if the pin's stainless. Well, alright, so what I started to say was I got a lot of these parts off of eBay by being patient and looking for deals, making best offers on some items that were accepted. I was able to get some really good prices on these parts. Like this 87431, I think I paid $24.99 shipping included for this. This is a Quicksilver made in the USA replacement part. So I found two versions of this online. I found one version of this that was just black like this, which I assume this is probably epoxy coated. Not sure. And then the other version I found is almost like a gold anodized metal color. But anodizing is more of an aluminum process, so I'm not quite sure what that was. I've seen that kind of metal color used before. I don't know if it's an alloy or what. Oddly enough, also supposedly a genuine Mercury part. So I don't know if at some point they made a production change from one type of metal to another. And I actually was kind of thinking, well, that might be corrosion resistant, the other one. So I was going to go for that one. That part was only $19.99, but the shipping wasn't free. And then once you factor in the shipping, it ended up being more money than this one. And there was no best offer on that one, but I actually called the seller because it was easy enough to figure out who they were. I called them up and I said, hey, I said, you know, I remember seeing this exact part that they were selling last year. So I know that's a listing that's been up for over a year now. They didn't have multiples, they only had one of them. They hadn't sold it. So I thought, well, maybe at this point, maybe they don't like to, you know, just knock a few bucks off and help me with the shipping. They wouldn't do it. So, and that's fine, no problem. I told them, I kind of jokingly said to the guy, I says, well, I'll help you out, I'll buy the other one. And then once I buy that one, yours will be the cheapest one on eBay. And it is now. Now theirs is the cheapest one on eBay of this particular part number. Anyway, so there's that. But they didn't have, oddly enough, every time I tried to find a seller that had multiple parts that I needed, you know, they'd have one or they'd have one or the other, and not all of them. So then I had to get this part. This is a 56349. Another genuine Quicksilver part. Got this from another seller. Okay, this is the rod that goes through here, and then this is held captive by a cotter pin. Ideally, a stainless cotter pin, which I probably do not have. Alright, so this is interesting. I thought maybe the old one was stainless because it's in such good condition, even though this is so rusted. And turns out it does appear to be stainless. The new one also appears to be stainless, but it's slightly magnetic. So it's a low grade of stainless steel. Believe me, that magnet would be sticking, well, that magnet would be sticking much better. So this is low grade stainless. And here's the big surprise. This piece that I was worried about is completely non-ferrous. Doesn't stick the slightest bit. So I think this might be stainless. It's too heavy to be aluminum. It's got some heft to it. And plus for strength, I would think they wouldn't make this aluminum. So that's interesting. And then this bar is definitely just steel with a pour coating on it. This actually is one of the used parts that I ended up grabbing. Oh, actually, this has got this tube on it. Let me get this out of here. This is that bar that I bent on mine. This is a 1969 Mercury 35 horsepower is what this came off of. But it's got the same part number, the 2572694. So they use this part, I guess, on a lot of motors. And then it had this tube, which I don't think this tube existed in the parts manual. Or if it did, it's missing on mine. So this is definitely steel. You see, this has got that coating on it. See that gold colored coating that I was talking about? I don't even know if this tube is metal. Yeah, that tube's metal. Looks like that might be aluminum. I think this is just sticking to it because it's got the steel rod in the middle of it. And this is the last part here. This is the 49930A1. This part is still available. This also I bought used, I believe. Yeah, this is used, but it's in excellent shape. This part's insanely expensive today at the dealer. And I think the reason why this part's still available is because I think these fall out and get lost. So basically this is designed so that this goes through and then this falls down, and gravity basically holds this pin in there. This is the pin that's supposed to be easily removable so you can adjust the trim. And that is definitely stainless, which is why the guy at the dealership said that they wanted, I don't know, like 45 or 60 bucks or something like that for this thing, which I didn't pay that. I think I paid 15 bucks with shipping included for this one. Well, I think this rod does exist, and I think the reason why I didn't really see it under there before is because it's actually held captive tight between the two brackets. So I think the way this sleeve comes off is when you pull the rod out, the sleeve will just drop out. Problem is, I bent the heck out of that thing, so that doesn't help things. So it looks to me like the way this rod's supposed to go out is if you take one of the nuts off, you should be able to slide it right on through both brackets. Only because I bent the bejesus out of the thing, I think I'm going to have a problem. All right, so the new reverse latch assembly is installed. That went smooth. I put the spring in that took off. It was still in good condition. Put that on exactly the same way the old one came off. Got the pin in, and I got my cotter pin in there. Like I said, the only thing is I wish I had a stainless cotter pin in there. Other than that, I'm satisfied with that. Now I got this bent mess right here to get out. Oh, of course not. Oops. Wow, that snapped off oddly easily. So I'm not going to be able to drive that pin out that way because this bend's not going to let this go out that way. So I got quite a pickle on my hands, and I know the way to get around it is going to be to basically cut this rod right here. If I cut this rod probably right about here where it's bent, I should be able to flex this enough to get this out of out of this side, and then that'll drop right out the other side, I think. The mayflies are just killing me. I mean, I have bug spray on right now to keep them from eating me alive, but they're just completely, in your face, in your mouth all the time, even with the spray. I want to see if I can cut this without damaging the boat. Gonna have to break it. Yeah, that's definitely an aluminum tube on the outside of that steel pin. If I had a metal cutting disc on my angle grinder, I could probably do this a lot easier. There we go. Cut it diagonally. Seems like it went through quite a bit. Should weaken it. I'm over halfway cut through that thing. Pretty strong. The way to bend a blade, dummy. There we go. But it's seized in. The ends are seized into the bracket. So now I gotta do a little bit of punch work. Punch it out. Oh, there was a washer there. Let's paint it in. Gonna move the camera back. Give me some more whaling room. I bended that rod. I bended Bended that rod? Ew. All right, I bent that rod up. Let me try the other one. Oh, unbelievable. I can't believe this is going to require heat, because guess what? I can't put high heat on that with it right up against the fiberglass. I'm beginning to think I should have just bent this rod back as straight as I could get it and just leave it. But no. I gotta do it right for once. And the other thing, beating on this thing like this, I'm probably aggravating the family of mice that probably took up residence in this motor over the winter and chewed up all my new wiring. I haven't even had the cowling off yet. That'll be an interesting reveal. Oh, let's see what happened. Son of a beeswax salesman. Well, that broke. I tell you what, that broke clean, almost clean off the back of this. When faced with the options of either A, taking this motor off of the boat just so I can overheat this bracket to get this out of here, or B, drilling this out, I'm leaning towards drilling it out. Alright, I gotta go pick up the pizza for supper, and by the time I get back it's gonna be dark out here, so I'm gonna have to call it a wrap for tonight. Alright, so it's the next day, and I'm going to center punch this so that I can hopefully drill it out. I'll start with a small drill bit, drill through larger and larger, and hopefully eventually it'll weaken so much I can just kind of knock it out of there. The trick is to try and get that first center punched hole as close to the middle as possible. You know, it always looks good until you strike it. Too high. I can see a problem already, which is that I can't get in close enough to drill a straight hole. So I'm going to drill as far as I can to make a little pocket so that I can at least have my punch nut fall off after each blow, and maybe the heat from drilling will actually improve the situation also. So I'm gonna go get a punch, a big one like I had last night, beat on it. All right. Unbelievable. Not moving at all.